What's up guys, it's Devus the Wolf here, and welcome to a brand new video. Today's video is going to be about fursuits. Pretty much the crown jewels in the furry fandom. One of the most prioritized and most sought after things you can find in this furry fandom. And I'm here to share my thoughts about fursuits as a whole. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Basically, are suits used by us furries, or generally any other people working in jobs like being a mascot for a football team or something like that. They're basically costumes, like, I don't know, your typical fancy dress costume, but it's more orientated for the furry community. And they're some of the most creative, cutest, and frankly, most expensive pieces of, well, cloth or material that you'll ever see in your life. Seriously, fursuits aren't cheap. That's another point. Fursuits can cost up to the bracket of around about the mid-thousands, anywhere up to about, I don't know, 5 to 10 grand. So yes, as I said, fursuits are not cheap. They're going to be like, well, why do furries buy these fursuits if they're so expensive? Why are you going to buy them if they're so bloody expensive? And that would be because we use them to represent ourselves as our characters. No matter the price. I mean, furries, you can choose the price. The price isn't just stapled as that bracket. As I said, it's in brackets. The price is variable between those prices, depending on the complexity of the character, the materials that are being used, any other features, such as if you want it to be a toony fursuit or a realistic one. There's so much that goes into the making of fursuits that pretty much justifies the price. That's another point I want to move on to later on. But as a whole, fursuits are expensive, but you are the one who kind of makes it expensive, depending on how complex your character is, and what materials you want in the fursuit, and what kind of fursuit you want. So, as a whole, fursuits are expensive material and a lot of work. Justifying the price of a fursuit is because many people in the furry community, for one reason or another, if they can't afford it, much like I said in my video about art, if they can't afford the fucking shit, they'll complain. They'll complain. They'll start spreading shit on all over Twitter, all over Facebook, all over Instagram, or all over fucking Amino. Just to say, I can't afford this fursuit, so I'm really angry. Hulk smash! It's like, fucking sit down, okay? If you can't afford a fursuit, you can't afford it. You can't afford everything in life. Sorry to get angry, but these people need to fucking calm down. It's just a material that is completely optional. If you want a fursuit, you want a fursuit. It's optional. You can say yes or no. And you're kind of the one responsible for making it expensive or out of your reach, because you're the one who probably chose to have a complex character. Or the materials. I'm not trying to squarely blame it on the person who orders it. It's just, it's such a clusterfuck. But it's primarily you who chooses the price. So really, you can't really complain with how expensive it is. You're the one who makes the decisions, really. And then the artist tells you how much that is going to cost. And the reason I say that they're justifying the price is because they have a lot of work that they have to do on a fursuit. They have to sew it, they have to, I think there's like thread and stuff like that, if you have, I don't know, eyelashes and stuff like that. There's work with foam, there's work with the fur and the materials. They have so much work, blood, sweat, and tears that has to go into these massive, I don't know, cartoon animal costumes. Whereas, you know, your typical mainstream, I don't know, shop, like, I don't know, Poundland, you'll buy a costume in there that's had barely any work done, barely any blood, sweat, or tears put into it, and apparently that justifies the price. No. I say how much work goes into it justifies how much they're going to charge you for it. Because, as I said, there's so much that goes into a fursuit, they shouldn't be undersold. Like, the minimum, as I said, is still very much justifiable at around about the £1,000 mark to anything up to about 10 grand. because there's so many different types of suits, which I'll get onto later, that take so many different variables of time. That can take so much time, effort, and just so much stuff has to go into the process of making a fursuit, as well as in the concept. Like, commissioning the artist itself means how much you're gonna have to pay in, like, there's a lot of stuff that, the extra stuff that you have to pay for a fursuit, and that is added onto the price. Rant over. But yes, fursuits are expensive, and that is justifiable by the price, because of how much they have to do for you. And if you're going to complain about that, the moral is, if you're going to complain about that, then it's mostly your fault that you're being sour about it. There's different types of fursuits, ranging from, in a spectrum, would be ranging from cartoony, full-on Looney Tunes, or your mascot for, I don't know, a soccer, football team, or whatever. And then you have the other part of the spectrum right here, the realistic side. Something like an artist's rendition of a anthropomorphic animal, or realistic drawing such as, like, I don't know, realistic dragons, wolves, foxes, whatever, just realistic animals. For the cartoony side of fursuits does have two main different types, although one is more popular. Two main different types of fursuits for the cartoony side. First one would be known as plantigrade. Now, I'm going to do this one first. It's a little less popular, but it's a bit more comfortable in my opinion. So it's my opinion, you have your opinion. But plantigrade basically means it's more straight on the different parts of the body. So basically, it's still got the foam in, not as much as say other ones, but it's just straight. It's got no real curve. It's just kind of your rather bland or rather normal fursuit. The second kind of fursuit, or the second kind of design for a fursuit, would be digigrade. Digigrade is basically the more curvy one, which kind of gave birth to the meme of thick thighs save lives. I don't know how that works, but whatever. Basically, digigrade, imagine your leg is like that. Apparently your leg is a sausage, I don't know. And the digigrade foam, or the digigrade kind of legs and stuff like that, would kind of go, on the front, it would be like, kind of like a real curve. Because really curvy, it's more expressionate on the different features of fursuit, and on the back it's a little more curvier than plantigrade. So basically, digigrade is for the more toony fursuits, mostly seen in people like kangaroos, or even some dragons, I guess you could say. And it's just basically more curvy, I don't know, more like a curvy woman, I don't know. Now, these fursuits can range in price, as I've always said. On the cartoony side, it isn't as expensive as the realistic side. The cartoony ones, at max, can range from about, say, around about the minimum of £1,000 to about 5,000, 6,000 at a push. I'm not saying I'm the most knowledge person, because, well, I did get scammed out of a fursuit, but I'll talk about that in another video. Basically, it can range from about £1,000 to £6,000 at the very max. Realistic fursuits are a whole different thing. Totally, completely different. Realistic fursuits are obviously more realistic with the eyes, the features of the body, more like a proper anthropomorphic animal, less cartoony and less animated than the toony fursuits. So the realistic ones are, one, a little harder to see out of. The materials are a lot harder to find, kind of, for these fursuits, and these ones are a little more rare to find within the fandom. I'm not saying extremely rare, but you don't come across a realistic fursuit all that often. Now, the realistic fursuits can be at the minimum, or at least what I would say, so, do your research. I know I'm a bit of an uncultured swine for not doing my research. I know this at least from estimates. I'd say the realistic fursuits can range from about 2,000, 2,500 pounds to anything up to about 7,500, maybe 8 grand at a push. Now, these fursuits make use of plantigrade, the more straighter, less curvy fursuit material and the fursuit design. Whereas, as I said, with the digigrade is more for the toony ones because it's more curvy, it's more expression on different body parts. Now, there's there's a thing about this being that the different materials depends on how much time they're gonna take. A toony fursuit, or at least for what I've seen within the fandom, toony fursuits can take around about 9 to 10 months in development because I see there's a lot to do. Even with toony fursuits, there's quite a bit to do. There's the sewing, the threading if you got eyes, the foam, different features if you want more complex features like movable eyebrows and stuff like that, maneuverable parts on the body, or even just so many different accessories and stuff like that. Realistic fursuits can take a fair bit more time. I think the least, or at least the most I've seen them take would be about 16 months. Because you got to think about it, there's a lot more that goes into a realistic suit than what will go into a toony suit. Because in a more realistic suit, they're going to get in more proportion to someone's body. They're going to get it really spot on, possibly with like features like hair, the ears, eyes, the nose or the snout and the muzzle and stuff like that. I'm mainly talking about walls because I am one. Just different features can take a lot longer on realistic fursuits because they're a lot more realistic and they're a lot more like humanoid animals. So there's a lot that has to go into these to really sell them that they're realistic. Another kind of fursuit I want to come on to, I know it's kind of more of an accessory, but I do see a lot of fursuits that make use of like electronics. I mean, if you know TFF Dragon on Twitter, he makes his own fursuits. I'm more sure of it, or at least somebody correct me. But I believe he makes his own fursuits, and he is amazing at his fursuits. Like his main fursuit or main persona is a dragon, and the eyes are like LEDs, and the pupils actually dilate and stuff like that. I really like the features on his fursuit where he makes use of the electronics. Another thing about this would be with Diesel Raccoon, an old Viner furry, who has since he's got a newer suit, he's got like little LED eyes that make it a little easier to see his eyes, because Raccoon suits or at least his older suits looked a little bit dark on the eyes, so I guess he used that to make it a little bit easier to see his eyes. I've even seen so many different types of what am I saying? Electronic fursuits, like ones with movable eyes, ones with even movable features, or if you've seen Beauty of the Bass, one of their best British fucking furries you'll ever see, a fucking speaker. Like, a speaker actually put into the fursuit. Like, it's actually part of it, and then the features are Beauty of the Bass. Jesus Christ. I've got to say, I got to hand it to her. I'm more than sure she makes her own suits. I've really got to give it to you. You make some fucking banging fursuits. Like, they are really creative, sometimes nightmarish, and just generally really fucking cool. But yeah, those are the different types of fursuits. There's digigrade, the different types of accessories and different types of fursuits. So you have stuff like digigrade, which are more curvy fursuits, more for the toony fursuits, and plantigrade, more for the realistic or just less toony characters. And then you got electronics and just different accessories to a fursuit. Like, you can get so many different accessories. So fursuits are very accessible, well, if you got the money, and there's a lot you can do with them. So we move on to the part where if you're a furry that's on Twitter, or a furry in general, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and that is Do you need a fursuit to be popular in the furry fandom? No. Seriously, no. You don't need a fursuit to be popular in the furry fandom. That is, yes, it's a core aspect of our fandom. Yes, people like fursuits. Yes, people long to get a fursuit. I do too. But no, we don't need fursuits to be popular. I'm somewhat of a, example of that. I'm not calling myself a popufur because, well, I'm not. But I'm relatively well known within the furry community because, well, I'm a cool guy. I'm not going to say that. I'm a cool guy. But I'm a chill guy. I talk to people with respect. I treat people like decent human beings. And, I don't treat people like shit. And, that's all you really need to be accepted in the furry community. Just be a nice guy. Don't be an asshole unless it's for comedic purposes. And even being an asshole doesn't really work in itself. So basically, in essence, don't be an asshole in the furry fandom. You don't need a fursuit to be popular in the furry fandom. Just be a chill, nice guy. Be nice to people. Just like in real life, just be nice to people, and people will be nice back, and maybe you'll just gain a few people who do like you. That's just the way it is. You don't need a fursuit to be popular. Just be nice, and people may accept you. People may, enjoy you for who you are. And so, we conclude the video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, even with those slightly ranty sections. I really enjoyed making this video. I love talking about furries because, well, it's a great community and the people are really friendly. For the most part, at least. I mean, we do have furry drama, but I'm not going to talk about it on this channel. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, I would very much appreciate it if you would leave a like. And if you really loved the video and want to see even more from myself, I would very, very much, be very grateful if you would subscribe. Because I'm trying to hit 200 or 250 subscribers by the end of the year. That is my goal for about the end of the year. So any help towards that, I would massively appreciate. So if you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like. And if you really loved the video and want to see more from myself, then hey, subscribe today because I love to make new videos for my subscribers and my viewers. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are. I hope you have a wonderful week too. And Devus out.